right, welcoming you back to gentle yoga. We've had a bit of a warm up already, and so please feel free to warm up the body and take a few breaths with me. And I feel sure that Mercury is coming to be in retrograde soon with my technical issues. I'm going to crawl forward onto my hands and knees. And just taking a moment here to set up a really nice firm foundation. Hands are underneath the wrists. So Ted, are we good? Can you hear me? Thumbs up. All right. And then today I'm going to bring the fingers to, I'm going to kind of tilt the fingers out a little bit towards the edges of my mat, something a little bit different. And I'm just going to circle my body to bring the weight across my wrists. I kind of stretch the wrists a little bit, finding that breath. So we're talking about the practice of yoga. One of our personal observances is self-study. So engaging in self-study now by observing this movement, observing your breath and how you're feeling in the wrists today. If you're somebody who typically has tenderness in the wrists or not, and coming back the other direction. And then just noticing too, if you've recently had you had your COVID shot, how this feels to bring weight into the arm. And then I'm going to come back to neutral. And I could keep my hands here if this feels good. I'll begin to bring movement into my spine. Good for this, releasing some tension from the back here. So I'll just let my belly sink down and lift my chest. And I'm not going to crank my neck back. I'm going to kind of keep some engagement there. And then I'll move to my cat shape, pushing into the hands, tucking the chin. And we're just going to move back and forth a few times, inhaling, sinking the belly, lifting the head and heart. Exhaling and rounding the back, and you just moving at your own pace. Right? We are observing the title of this class, Gentle Yoga. Gentle is that attitude we take towards ourselves to listen and cultivate that ability to find our movements that feel right for us. Good, I'll take one more. And then let's go ahead and tuck the toes under and sit back just a little bit, right? Take care of your knees if need be. I'm going to plug my fingertips into the earth. And I'm just getting a really nice toe stretch for a moment. And I might be able to sit back and sit up even a little higher, right? If your toes will allow. Right? Maybe you don't want to put this much pressure on the toes, and then in that case, that's good. Leanne, you can sit on the tops of the feet and just take a breath with me. Good, and then I'm coming back, I'm coming forward, hands underneath the shoulders. I'm going to stretch my right leg out. Stretching that right leg out. I might rock forward, I might rock back, and then I'm going to bend my knee and lift that leg up so that knee is straight out from the hip, right? Something a little bit different today. And then from here, I'm just going to take like 5 pulses where I'm really turning on the glute muscle, but I'm lifting from the back of my knee to keep my low back safe. Right? So pulsing here, turning on the glutes. Just a few more with me. That's good. And then we'll release down and stretch the left leg long. Left leg long, you could rock forward, rock back. And then I'm lifting my left leg up, bending the knee and keeping that thigh parallel with the earth as I push the foot up. Taking 5 pulses here. Nice and slow, controlled. Beautiful, guys. And then as you're ready, we'll come to stretch the right leg out again. Lift the right leg out nice and straight. And you could stay here just moving the legs, or you could try lifting that left arm straight out in front. And then from here, I'm going to crunch the elbow in towards the knee and re-extend. And then I'll switch sides. Left leg lifts. Maybe it's just the leg, or maybe you extend the right arm. Crunch the elbow towards the knee and re-extend. And then we're moving from side to side at whatever pace feels good. Right leg, left arm. Crunch in and re-extend. And switch sides. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and release. One more on each side. Getting the energy moving. And then we'll take a period to allow that to circulate. So I'm going to come to my child's pose. Option to use whatever props you need. Maybe there's a block underneath the head. As I've brought some space between my knees and brought my hips towards my heels, arms extended. Arms could be soft, arms could be active. You could even bend the elbows and bring the hands into prayer pose above the head. That's an option too. Or maybe, Walt, you stay away from that and just kind of allow the arm to rest. Finding 3 breaths here and just reminding yourself of your why. Why you have come to yoga this morning, and why in general do you even have a yoga mat? What is this for you? Slowly beginning to unfurl and peeling yourself up to your tabletop posture. Reset those knees. I'm going to tuck my toes under, lift my hips with my knees bent, finding my downward facing dog, maybe one at a time, one heel dropping down as we pedal out the feet. If it felt useful for you, you could take a peek at the hands and maybe shift the fingers out to the sides a little bit. See how that would change your downward facing dog. One more breath. And then we're coming forward to that high plank. Right, high plank. Maybe we take 3 breaths here together. That's good, Leanne. Really nice, Barb. You got it, Nell. I'm going to drop my knees down. Sink all the way to the belly with a little bit of control. Allow my forehead to rest. Activate the legs and lift the heart. Come to a baby cobra. Baby cobra is, something where I do tend to feel a little bit more than I like in my low back. So I like to really disperse the effort, right? Turn on the legs, push the pubic bone down, and engage the shoulders, right, by squeezing the shoulder blades together. And take one big breath with me. And then sink cheek to mat. Let the arms rest at the sides, right? Or whatever other posture feels good for you to be able to just rest for a moment. Just resting for a moment. And then we'll make our way up. Okay, so coming to that tabletop pose, and then maybe we'll walk ourselves up onto the knees, very briefly onto the knees. I'm going to step 1 foot forward, knowing that I can grab onto furniture if I need to for this transition, tucking my one toe under, the back toe under, and then pushing my way up to a standing posture and coming to the top of my mat. Okay, coming to the top of my mat, opportunity to take that sip of water, reset whatever you need to. And then we'll go ahead and move the spine a bit. So I'm going to inhale my arms out and up. Exhale, slow fold forward, maybe a soft bend to my knees, taking care of my low back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold again. Inhale, coming up, arms rising out and up. Palms pressing to heart center. Let's keep that moving. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, slow fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise, palms press to heart center. You could stay here breathing, or you could do one more with me. Breathing in. Good, Larry. Breathing out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Palms press to heart center. Right, and then from here, I'm going to take a hand onto my low back and a hand onto my belly, and I'm just going to feel this pelvic tilt forward and back, and kind of noticing, what I typically do is I almost like have a tail that lifts, and I walk around with this lifted tail. And today I want to encourage you to kind of bring a little tuck there so you feel that engagement. And then from this posture of stability, this little bit of a tuck, we're going to do some calf raises together. Okay, so I'm going to lift up onto my tiptoes, maybe the arms rise up with me, and releasing back down. Good, self-study. How does this feel? Inhale and exhale. Maybe you do 3 seconds up and 3 seconds down, right? Taking good care of yourself if you have foot or ankle issues. Inhale and exhale, no problem, right? Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Good, let's take one more float. Nice and slow. Good, and then from here, I'm just going to kind of check in with my balance, bringing the weight into my right foot. And I'm just going to lift my left leg and maybe hover my left hand over my left knee. And that's like a little magnet, a magnetic force that I'm going to imagine pulling my knee up a little higher. If you need some extra sort of stabilizing, you bring that right arm out to the right. And feeling this beautiful strength in your leg. And then when you're ready, release. Yeah, walk it out a little bit. And then we'll switch it up. So weight coming into that left foot. Pick up the right leg. Hover that right hand above the right knee. Maybe that left hand coming out to the left. Right, relaxing into this. Maybe this side feels way different. Big breath in, breath out, and release. And take that little hip rotation movement, stepping up and over your hurdle. Maybe we engage the opposite arm moving. Taking it nice and slow. Yeah, it's just good to move and breathe, isn't it? Ah, that's good, Ted. Taking a reset breath. Take a reset breath. All right, guys. Let's come to Warrior One, right foot forward, left foot back. Bending into that right knee. And I'm to let my left hip kind of travel wherever it wants to today, but I'm going to remember about that little tailbone tuck here. Just a little bit of engagement. I'll bring my hands to heart center. That's good, Deb. And then let's inhale and straighten the leg and lift the arms up. And then releasing back down to that bent knee, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift and stretch and reach. Exhale, release into that bent knee. And one more time, inhale, lift. And exhale, warrior one. Now I'm going to turn my back toes to face the top of my mat. So I've lifted my heel up, and then I'm going to step and see if I can step into that one-legged posture, even if it's for a millisecond. Good, and releasing back down. Beautiful. Okay, other side. You got it. Left foot forward, right foot back. Little bit of an angle. Right, finding my stance that feels good to me. That right hip traveling wherever it wants to go. Little bit of a tailbone tuck. Hands to heart center. Good. Inhale, straighten everything. Arms lifting up. Straightening that front knee. Exhale, sinking down into that front knee. That's good, Leanne. Finding the breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Yeah, and if you need to make any changes to make this safer for yourself, do it. Lifting. And last time will come hands to heart center. I'm going to turn my back foot. So all 10 toes are now pointing to the top of the mat. Back heel's lifted. And I'll launch myself forward and lift that right leg up. Maybe it's just lifting for a millisecond. That's good. Good. Awesome. Okay, so come to the back of your mat. Come to the back of your mat. Cue the circus music. We're going to take a little walk on our balance beam. Okay, taking a walk on the balance beam. I'm going to start with my feet together. And then I'll just step that right heel in front of the left toes. Maybe the arms come out to the sides. And I'll just start to take a slow walk. Maybe I will even close my eyes today. Still breathing. And as I get to the top, I'll start to walk to the back. Walking to the back. Nice and slow. Good. And the last time, just walking to the top of your mat, where we will then meet in a mountain pose. Meeting in mountain pose. Good. And then from mountain pose, we're going to explore a tree pose. Okay, so the weight's going to come into my right foot. I'll pick up my left heel and open the knee to the side. And, just kind of noticing what happens with the hips. We want the hips to kind of be level. Okay, so immediately when I come into this posture, maybe one hip goes up. So I'm just going to try to kind of zip up the hips. And then I'll bring my foot up a little higher to wherever feels safest for me today. Okay, that's good. And I'll push the foot into the thigh and the thigh back into the foot. Maybe my hands come to heart center. Maybe I use a wall, right? Maybe I bring my back to the wall, or I take one hand to rest on the wall. Or I even turn around away from the camera, right? That's an option too. Not trying to force it here. Yeah, that's good. I like this branch is lifted. And finding your breath. And when you're ready to come out of it nice and slow. Yeah, that's good, Leanne. Making your way there and modifying, and taking good care of yourself and your body today. So let's try the other side. Little bendy bounce. Weight will come into that left foot. Pick up the right heel, open it to the side. Notice immediately if you start to kind of shift in the hips. And then we'll find that point of contact. It could be the calf, it could be the thigh. Don't force it, right? Down on the ground is perfectly fine for this. Maybe you stay with the hands at heart center, right? Maybe you bring your branches, maybe you grow your branches. Maybe you wiggle your fingers. Let me know that you're out there. Yeah, thank you. And then we'll release slowly out of this. Good. Option to walk it out, to take some water, to let me know how you're doing. Thumbs up. All right. Taking that nice wide stance on the mat. I'm going to turn my toes out to the sides a little bit, kind of like a wide-legged Charlie Chaplin. And with my hands on my hips, I'm just going to start to bend my knees a little bit and take a peek at my knees. And I want to try and have the knees and the toes pointing in the same-ish direction. I know it's hard. Right? This will be a little bit safer for you. Immediately coming towards our goddess pose, I feel my balance is challenged. If you need to lean forward a little bit, that's fine. If you would like to try to tilt that pelvis back a little bit for that extra stability, that's great. And then we'll bring the arms out to the sides. That's good, Larry. He knows where we're going already. Elbows bent. So coming into your goddess pose. And then we'll straighten and reach the arms out. And as you exhale, you might sink back down into this murky mud. Right from this murky mud, we lift and we grow. We form that lotus blossom. Coming back and forth. Maybe you sink down a little deeper. Yeah, like that, a little shifting side to side. And then growing into your star. One last time sinking down. Option to hold here. Option to lift one heel and then the other heel. And maybe if you're feeling okay, this is really challenging, you might try lifting both heels. Only if you feel stable, okay? I know, you're laughing at me. Nice. And then we'll come up nice and slow. All 10 toes to the side of the mat. Taking a wide-legged forward fold. You might stay lifted with a flat back. You might keep the hands, on the legs. You might bring the hands down onto the mat and fold a little deeper. All of these are options for you. Right, so coming into that wide-legged forward fold. Finding the breath. And then as you're ready, slow rise up. I'm not in any particular hurry at all. And then I'll turn my right toes to the right and angle my left foot in and sink into my warrior two. Right foot forward. Allowing my hips to travel a little bit. And then as you're ready, releasing the arms out in both directions. I'm going to flip my right hand and trace the ceiling, reverse the warrior, straightening that front leg. And coming back down into it, nice and deep into your warrior two. Good. Inhale, lift, reverse warrior. Exhale, sink, warrior two. Last time, inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, sink into your warrior two. You could hold here, maybe 3 breaths as you gaze over that right middle finger. Right, cultivating single point of focus. All of our attention going into one place. Maybe it's the breath. Maybe it's your feet. Good, and then we'll slowly come down, hands on the hips. Let's just turn and take our warrior two on the other side. Left toes to the back of the mat. Angling that right foot in, bending into the left knee. I like that, Larry. Really nice. He stretches his arms up and over and reaching in equal directions. And now we'll flip that left hand. Inhale, trace the ceiling, reverse the warrior, nice and long, maybe leaning back a little bit. Good, and then we'll come back to warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, warrior two. One more time, inhale, reverse. Exhale, warrior two, turning the gaze over that left middle finger. Once again, reminding you to tuck the tailbone a little bit here. Cultivating that single point of focus where all other distractions fall away and we are experiencing this connection, body and mind. And then as you're ready, releasing out of that and walking yourself up to the top of your mat. Go ahead and grab your strap. Grabbing your strap, if you have one nearby, or anything you might use as a strap. Could be a dog leash or a belt. And I'm going to take a little bit of a wider stance and bring my strap straight out in front. Okay, so I might just pull that strap a little bit. And this might be where I stay today if I'm experiencing any arm pain. Or I could lift the strap up, letting my shoulders tell me what they want to do. And then option to bring a little bit of side movement from side to side, still really rooting down through the feet. Good, coming to that left side one last time. Good, and releasing that strap down, and I'm going to grab the strap behind my back. Nice, Leanne. Got some good range of motion there. Grabbing the strap behind my back. Maybe pulling on the strap a little bit, and then I'm going to lift that strap up and release it down. Inhale, lift that strap up and release it down. Moving at your own pace, maybe we'll take 3 more lifts. Noticing if one side is doing more work than the other. And last time. That's good, Ted. Release it. And go ahead and let the strap come to the side. Good, and then I'm going to lift my right arm up, scoop underneath, draw the arm across the body, keep that shoulder nice and low. Right, maybe here I also bring a little movement into my head and my neck. I could tuck my chin towards away from my arm or towards my arm. That's good, Larry, good modification there, just keeping that pec stretch going. And then I'll switch sides, left arm out, scoop underneath, draw the arm across the body. Right, this side could feel different. And maybe a little tilt of the head in one direction or the other. Good. And then one last thing I want to do with the arms is just open the arms out to the sides. And I'm going to take like 10 arm circles forward. And 10 arm circles backwards. All right, and hopefully that will help you kind of disperse the medicine wall through your body, rolling one shoulder up and back at a time. And then let's go ahead and begin to transition to some seated postures. Unless there's any other standing posture your body is calling for, I think I'm ready to come down, so I'm going to stagger one foot. I'll drop my back knee down. I'll take a moment to balance on my knees. If I feel okay without padding, I'll stay here, or I could grab some padding for my knees. And I might take a modified camel while I'm here, or if I'm ready to sit, that's absolutely fine. So just placing my hands into my back pockets, maybe squeezing the thighs towards each other, squeezing the elbows towards each other, and then I might lean back just a little bit with the glutes engaged. Big breath in, breath out, and then as you're ready, releasing back up and coming to sit with the legs straight out in front. Okay, so just kind of loosening up the legs a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to bend both knees and bring them a little wider apart with my hands, kind of holding me up here. So I've got my arms, behind me like a kickstands, and my feet are nice and wide on my mat. I'm just going to shift my knees to one side and to the other side a few times. Good, and then from here, I'll bring my feet back, maybe about hips width distance apart. And I'm going to place my hands down with the fingertips pointing off of the edges of the mat. And an option here is to lift the hips, right? And maybe come back down if that feels like too much on the shoulders. My feet are hips distance apart, lifting up, releasing back down. Right, I might feel really strong and stable here. I might want to hold my reverse tabletop. For me, it feels like a lot of work in the neck, and I don't feel comfortable really letting my head drop back, but if you do, that's okay. Good, and then I'm going to come down nice and slow and bring the soles of my feet together. Bringing the soles of my feet together in bound angle. Typically I get here and I'm like, okay, because I have pretty open hips. I'm like, okay, this is like a hangout pose for me. It might not feel that way to you. It might feel like a lot more to you. I can give you something to add. Okay, so I'm going to bring my right arm over to the right, and the left hand is going to push into the left thigh. And I'm not just trying to kind of open my hips more. I'm actually trying to push my leg up into my hand. So I'm getting this beautiful engagement here of pushing my left hand down into my thigh, and my left thigh is trying to push my hand away. So there's adduction going on. So strengthening the hips. Yeah, and then we'll come and we'll try the other side. Left arm kind of supportive here, pushing that right hand down into the right thigh, and maybe the hand and the leg talking to each other, right? Bringing that right leg up into the hand, strengthening. Good, and then we'll come back to center. I'm gonna just open my legs out. Just see if I can sit up tall here. For me, that might mean a little support behind me with my hands. I might try lifting my heels up off the earth. That might be an impossible task, but just using the muscles that I would to do that if I can't. And then relaxing the heels down without losing that engagement. You might feel okay to try and walk forward here a little bit, coming into more of a forward fold, or you might stay right where you are and feel plenty of sensation. Right? Maybe you grab that pillow and make it more of a yin thing, where you can kind of hang out here and soften. Right, that's good, Deb. I like the active forward fold on you today. Good, and then we'll slowly make our way up. We'll bring the feet back together, and I'm gonna just hug my right knee in. Hug my right knee in, maybe out to the side a little bit. So there's a little bit of space between the foot and the thigh. And then from here, I'm gonna lift my left arm up. And I'm really rooting down here through my left leg. I'm gonna take a twist to the right. Taking a twist to the right, using my torso, and then let's come back to center. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right, and this time I'll bring my arm down and hug that knee, and then the right arm can come down behind me. And I'm going to take a peek over my right shoulder, no pressure to really move the neck into anything extreme, but I would like you to think about whether you're really pushing the neck, pushing the chin forward, and seeing if you can pull it back and lengthen the back of your neck. Right, sitting up nice and tall. And then we'll take one big breath and release back to center. Right, so seated twist on the other side. Hugging that left knee in, a little bit of space here between the foot and the thigh. I'll lift my right arm up. Lifting my right arm up, big breath in. As I exhale, I'll twist to the left using my abdominal and back muscles. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the left again. In one last time. As I twist, this time I'll bring that right arm down, hug the knee, and place the left hand down behind me so I'm sitting up nice and tall. And I might take a peek over the left shoulder. Right? Careful if you're really jutting your chin forward and rounding the back. We would rather have you go less, don't twist as deeply and keep that nice tall spine. One more breath in and slow release back to center. Making any other seated poses, movements that you like before we come down to some reclining poses. Right, so you know the basic template of these classes, and I try to give you enough repetition that you could take some of this and translate it to a home practice. You know that we're going to spend some time warming up and breathing. You know that we're going to do some stuff on the hands and knees. We're going to stand. We're going to do balance. We're going to come back down, and we're going to wind down at the end. And that's a really nice template to take with you off of, into your own practice. So I'd like to give you some options. As we come onto the back here, I'd like to invite you just to find your constructive rest pose. And what does that mean? That is a term we use where we are keeping the knees bent and the feet are on the ground and the hands might rest, at the sides or on the belly. And I might notice here that I'm really kind of holding myself, tensely in the shoulders or in the neck. And I might just invite my body to let go a little bit, right? Letting go a little bit of my asana practice. And some simple pelvic tilt movement here could be useful for you if you have low back tenderness. So I'll lift my belly button up off the earth and then push it back down, right? So I'm not lifting my hips up off the earth. I'm just tilting the pelvis forward and back. So you can imagine the pelvis is like a bowl. And I'm tipping that bowl forward and I'm tipping that bowl back. And then from here, we'll come back to neutral. And I'm going to hug my right leg in. And I'll extend my left leg long if that's available to me. And I might grab onto the back of the right thigh and push the foot up towards the ceiling. All right, so option to do this also for you, Larry, seated with a strap. Getting that hamstring stretch and also maybe rolling the ankle. I'll push my low back down into the earth. Right, so some of the best ways we can take care of that low back is by stretching the hamstrings. And just like we did before, we get that conversation going between the leg and the hand. So I'm not only pulling my leg back with my hands, I'm pushing my leg into my hands. Strength and flexibility at the same time. Such a safer way to build flexibility. And then we'll release that, hugging that right knee in and switching sides, hugging the left knee in. Maybe that right leg extends long. And we'll grab onto the back of the left thigh, push the foot up towards the ceiling, rolling the ankle. Pushing that low back down into the earth and getting that dialogue going, right? Push the leg into the hands, pull the leg back with the hands. So you're all fired up. Good. And then we'll release, hugging that knee in. Let's take a bridge pose. Right, so I'm going to invite you to use a block between the thighs. If that's your jam, if you like the additional engagement and the alignment cue of having that block between the thighs so that the hips, so that the feet and the knees stay about hips width distance apart. And then from here, I'll drive my upper arms into the earth, fingertips pointing towards the ceiling, lifting my heart. And then maybe I'll lift my hips, squeezing that block. Always just looking straight down the nose, never turning the head from side to side. You could stay here with robot arms. Right? Or you might interlace the fingers underneath the back or grab a strap if that's not an easy thing for you, and hold that strap between the hands, pulling the strap apart as you wriggle the shoulders, get a little higher. Squeeze that block. You might come up onto your tiptoes for a change. Really push the hips with the low back, middle back, upper back. Finding maybe 3 more breaths here. Maybe one heel comes down, the other heel comes down. We lift the arms up overhead and slowly descend. 1 vertebra at a time. Once you've touched down, take your block out if you were using one. And I'm just going to cross my right knee all the way over my left knee. And from here, I'll guide my knees to the left side, just allowing them to drop over to the left. And the right arm can reach to the right. Maybe even up a little bit. So I feel this beautiful stretch in my chest, in my armpit. If this feels too intense for your knees or for your hips, you can just have the knees resting side by side and uncross. If you feel okay there, then stay. When you're ready, moving back to center, crossing the left knee over, guiding the knees to the right, left arm stretching out to the left. Just breathing here, letting breath and gravity do all the work. slow travel back to center. Right, hugging both knees in. Maybe pressing both feet up towards the sky. Pointing and flexing a few times. You could observe the toes. And just maybe thanking your feet for all those miles, every one of those steps they have taken in your life. Your support, your foundation. And then as you're ready, we'll come into our final resting pose, possibly the most important pose of all. Of course, you can do seated meditation if you prefer, or you might take some time to find a really comfortable way to rest. In our yoga therapy program, we learned how to create a neutral spine. And for many of us, that would include bringing something underneath the knees and something underneath the neck. Right? I really, or keeping the knees bent. That's good, Ted. I like that. Keeping the knees bent. So taking that time to really create this neutral spine for yourself where you don't feel effort to be there and you feel like you could just rest. Right? Option to sit up and do seated meditation if that's what you prefer. So resting in your Shavasana, just beginning to let go of holding the body. Noticing all the parts of the body that are touching the earth. And imagining you could sink into that support a little more deeply. Just staying in your Savasana a little bit longer. Noticing the breath coming in at the nostrils, leaving the nose or mouth. Coming back from wherever you've been, making small movements. Wiggling fingers and toes. And slowly, carefully rolling over onto one side. Giving yourself that hug of gratitude for recognizing the importance of self-care. Taking the hands at heart center. When you're ready, coming up to sit. Taking your why you practice yoga with you into the rest of today. We'll close with one single Om. Inhaling for Om. Om. thanking you so much for your practice today. Namaste. We will have Yoga Nidra on Sunday, so letting you know that now in case you want to make plans to join me at 4 o'clock on Sunday, free class.